Hey everyone, I'm Wa, and you can't see
And
because
I'm
it's blurry. This is Chris. It is so
oh,
blurry. I'm like, who is this person? Go ahead. Sorry.
mm,
I'll start again. Want to start
well,
again?
it's me. I can see myself, so I didn't know I was blurry. That's why I'm like, oh, I can see myself, but I believe you that I'm blurry because I do
We're
have
two
maybe I have too
longtime
many
friends.
devices on my note. Oh.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, which is obviously blurry. You can't make out one thing, honey. We're just shapes. We look like a watercolor painting, honey. Like, we're just like no boundaries at all, just melding into each other. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Kind of like, how at the end of the day, if we are melding into each other, then that's the truth because we are all made from the same atoms and stardust, and we are just constantly dying and
Girl,
regrowing.
your intro gets longer and longer.
Okay. At the end of the day, who am I sweet?
90 Day we're talking 90 Day, The Last Resort, season 2, episode 2. God, can you believe it's season 2?
No, I mean, yes, because I did, obviously Matt and I did the season 1 premiere only last week, but yeah, I can't believe it,
The last
You
straw.
weren't here
What broke
for
the
it.
camel's back?
Were you jealous? We called you right before we recorded. Were you jealous of how tipsy and loose we were?
I wasn't jealous, but I was like, "Ooh, I want red wine." That's what
Yeah,
happened.
envious. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. We'll buy some Camus.
Camus. Is it at Costco?
I, you know what? It could easily be because they have a great game, and Camus is like, in a lot of restaurants. So yeah.
Yeah.
So this is when we open on everyone kind of talking about what happened before. Rob and Sophie talk about the fact that, of course, Josh had slid into Sophie's DMs and asked if she wanted to go to Vegas. And Natalie is, not feeling Sophie for a bunch of reasons. And we can mostly say it's because Natalie wants to be the hottest, prettiest, youngest. She's kind of like, it's like Snow White. Like it's Sophie White.
Snow Wicks?
Snow White. Okay. You know how
say?
Snow White, the evil mom in Snow White's like, I don't want to be the fairest one of all.
Mm-hmm.
That was my way of saying that, Natalie is that evil mom and Sophie is technically, in this case, Snow White.
Technically, it's an evil queen, but it can be an evil mom if you want to, like Cinderella. Okay, so we start off also with a couple's all in their room, like basically talking about how they stack up against other couples. And Natalie and Josh are like, we're actually not that bad. We have like 70% sex and 2% fight. And he's like, no, we actually have 75% fighting. And she's like, oh, Josh. And then Sophie and Rob talk about their stuff. And here's the truth. I understand why they have cameras in the bedrooms. I am naked when I am home or when I am like in my space. So like I can't have that. You can't I don't I don't want it. So I was like, "Oh, I would never be able to do this." Now, obviously, Rob and Sophie's bed gave me anxiety because I'm like, "Why do you have all that stuff on it? Why isn't it someplace where that makes sense?" But whatever. And then we've got Julia and Brandon, and Julia is frustrated with Brandon because Brandon's like, "Did you pack my underwear?" And she's like, "I told you to pack your panties and your socks. Like, why I have to do this, Brandon? I'm not your mother." So we already know.
He's like, "You packed everything else."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, you packed everything else. So why wouldn't you just finish it?" What a baby.
God. Then Gino and Jasmine have a moment where Gino apologized to Jasmine for, I guess, whatever he did last episode. And he's like, I also apologize because I didn't believe you that you went to Brandy's. It's like all of a sudden now Gino thinks that Jasmine's cheating on him. And I'm like, she don't have a car. How is she doing all this cheating? You don't, did he go back to work? Is that why he's now like worried about her cheating? Because he doesn't see where she is all the time? And so she's like, I was with our mutual friend, Brandy. But I'm sorry for making you worry. And like, when we get in front of these other people, don't embarrass me. And that's the same thing that Stacey and Florian says. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, I haven't seen Florian since like season 2 of Stacey and Darcy, which has felt like 17 years ago, but it probably was just 2. That man is bored of Stacey. Like, he has fun with her sometimes, but for the most part, either he's bored of being on the show, or he's bored of Stacey, or he's just never going to give the same energy that Stacey and Darcy will ever give.
Mm-hmm.
Something
Definitely
funny happens.
all of it. I'm gonna say D, all the above. A D mystery one. Yeah, I feel like he's also like always tired.
Yeah,
he's been partying. He's hungover, tired, whatever.
Actually, he doesn't look like a heroin addict anymore. Like, his face is filled out a little bit. He's still ugly, but his teeth, he got new teeth too. And so Stacey's like, "Can you just be nice to me?" And he's like, "Relax." Like, immediately just like, "Shut up. You're doing too much." So then we go to another couple that's contentious. I mean, Biniam and Ari. Here, I'm just gonna say this. Biniam seemingly is from a culture or a community that lends him to believe that he needs to try with Ari because of the kid. But he should not try with Ari because he does not like her. He doesn't like her. He does not like her.
He used to. Yeah. Things have shifted. Remember when he...
I feel like he used to like her when it was a novelty and she was like the white girl that he was like dating, and like she was interesting and they were having a lot of sex. But as soon as she got pregnant and things got serious and he couldn't just be like a backflipping, pogo dancer or whatever, on the streets at night, it changed for him. Because he's like, "What are you talking about? When you met me, I was doing backflips. I was like doing whatever it is I was doing, and I was living my best life at night. Just because you had a child doesn't mean that I'm going to stop that." So I don't understand. And like,
yeah, like,
he's very immature. He's a child. Like, he just doesn't. And I say that he doesn't love her in the fact that it's not enough for him to change those aspirations or change the way he moves so that he can give the mother of his child the adoration and love that she wants. Okay, so anyways, they're sleeping in separate rooms. He comes over and they have like a special, like,
something?
Yeah.
So last episode, one of my favorite people on this entire whole season is Heidi Clapham. Okay. She is one of the counselors. There's some other guy, he's too much, and
he
wants
to be, yeah, he's too much.
He thinks he's like the Meryl Streep of like this show. Like, he's like, "I'm gonna fucking take this whole thing over." Like, Matt Sharp, watch out, because he's coming for you. I mean, I don't have to tell you about that man, but I will say that Fancy, we haven't met. Fancy hasn't been here yet. So Fancy took the day off. Okay. But we have, of course, Heidi Clapham. She's coming on in. She calls Ari. Ari has to call Benny. Benny comes down with like a Jabra, not like an AirPod, but a Jabra like ear-pod piece in his ear. Just as a reminder, his line of work is MMA fighter and stunt person. So what phone call on this television show, as you've come down to have like a therapy session with your wife, blah, blah, blue, are you like holding on for, but whatever. So like that part is the only two things I really like needed to get off. It is like, I love Heidi Clapham. I'll say her name 1 billion times. I'll just keep saying it, obviously. You can't make me stop. And the second thing is that fucking Jabra, like ear thing
Earpiece
made me like livid,
He's talking to the uncles back home. But yeah, he comes in and they like just kind of like take it bit by bit. And we find out that his biggest thing is that she has changed all the passwords on his social media. And he finds that, if he finds it impossible, I guess, to start new ones, or to like, do any kind of
email too. So it's like, even if you, because if he reset his Instagram password, she has the email too. So like he doesn't have that,
Yeah. So she took access from him because he was cheating on her. And we know he's been looking at other women the whole time. Like, as soon as she got pregnant, he was looking at other women. And it's because the novelty of whatever she provided is gone. she got pregnant. She got pregnant and she got serious. And he's like, what? And so anywho, he's like, yeah, she tries to control me. So now he's feeling controlled, which is true. Like she is, because she's like, you're my husband. You owe me this. And like, this is what I deserve. And, you know, I brought you to the US. My family has took you in, and your stupid ass sister trying to make her career take off through a full glass of wine in my face on national TV. Like she's gone through a lot living in Ethiopia, trying to make it work with him and his like whatever. And so I think she's at the end of her rope, because honestly, like when I heard that she did this to him, the last like thing I saw about them, that wasn't the Ari I knew. I feel like the Ari I knew would have just broken up with him and moved on with her life. Now she's like heady and in a vendetta like world, and there's something deeper going on here. She feels stupid, and she said it later on. She feels stupid for, I guess, staying with him as long and doing whatever, and they have a 5-year-old and all this stuff. But anyway, so at the end of it, like, you know, she puts her hand out to like end the conversation and to like end it on a peaceful note and say that they're not going to talk about the social medias and whatnot. And this man shakes her hand. He doesn't hold it lovingly. He doesn't take it in his hand or both hands. He shakes it. And I was like, oh no, that's not what you were supposed to do.
It's a callback though. That's how he tried to greet her when he first saw her. And she was really mad at that. So when he comes in and the first time, they don't come together. He says hi to everyone and he goes, hi, Ari, and shakes her hand. She's like, what's that? And she's like, I'm your wife. You're going to shake my hand. And so then he hugged her. It was really awkward. And so in this moment, it's like it doesn't even want to touch her. He doesn't want to be there. I don't know. I mean, obviously he's there just for the money because he has no intent or the passwords. He has no intent to get back with her. But basically, so Heidi Klapham's like, well, listen, we have a great exercise today. You're going to be really into it. So I think that's why you should like be on board. And then we jump to, they're all driving to the exercise. Now this is where you wrote down what Gino says, I guess.
Gino is trying to like be optimistic, and he's just like, he just goes into like old man mode, and he's like, yeah, it's really nice out here. It's, you know, it's a beautiful day. It's sunny. It's nice, and it's the birds are chirping, and it's warm. And everybody in the car is like, thanks, Gino, for those observations. That is something
I do like, that shit.
Yeah, it is such an older person thing to do, is to like remark on the weather and be so in awe of it. Like, oh my God, it's such a beautiful day. It's like, okay,
I do it all the time.
You live in California, like calm down. Or like you live in Arizona, it's most likely going to be a beautiful day. And then like also like depending on what the weather is in Michigan, yeah, it's yeah. So anyways, they're in the sorry, I need to scroll down. And so then Jasmine's like, this is how a horror movie starts, you know, and it looks like they're going to do something in the desert. And so they have their confessionals, and Jasmine is like, if something happens to us and we have to be cannibals, I think I'm going to eat Benny. And and it's like, and then Gino's like, oh yeah, because of the muscles. And she's like, yes, because of the muscles. And I'm like, yeah, because muscle is meat. Meat is muscle. So that's why you're gonna eat him, because he's got a lot of meat on them bones. And like the rest of them don't. Like maybe him and Josh have the most meat on their bones. So yeah, so anyways, I got a little kick out of that. And then Julia's like, oh, what is in this you said what kind of snake, Brandon? And Brandon's like, he doesn't remember. He's like, rattlesnake. And then Ari's like, I have anti-venom in my purse, so it's fine. And I'm like, who the fuck carries anti-venom? What is that? Is it a shot? Is it like an EpiPen? Anti-venom? It's so weird.
Don't happen to mine. Honey, I have 14 billion lip glosses, no anti-venom, you know? Yeah. A lot of lip tits. I got 14 lip glosses. I have 10 lip tits. I have 4 lip balms. I have 2 mattes. And then I have like a couple of lipsticks.
If you knew how many like lotions and or sanitizers I have in my car, like just ready to free use at any moment, it's like it's crazy. So
No
then they get
anti-venom?
to no antivenom. So then they get to there and there's a big pile of rocks and then like the two therapists are like yeah, you're going to pick up the rock and put like what you want from your partner on it. And it's just like some stupid like whatever, right? And then Stacy's like, I'm a Libra, I can't make a decision. And I was like, that is not at all. Are you a September Libra? What are you talking about? That is not at all the characteristics. Also, what is your moon? Because I don't think that that is a characteristic that I would like for you to put on our people. I need to see. Let me see.
Libras can't make a decision.
That is not
Let
true.
me
I'm
see
the
if
most
that's
decisive person I know. As soon as I make a choice, I move with intent towards it. What?
yeah, but
When?
like, okay. You don't like to make I feel like you don't like to make decisions. You would rather someone else make decisions.
Oh,
But
that
that's
is
how I
absolutely
feel
not true.
sometimes.
That is
Okay.
absolutely not true. When is Stacy and Darcy's birthday? Yeah, so what happens though, I think what you're picking up on is that I make decisions all day. And so sometimes I'm just like, I can't do that right now because I'm making a lot of them. But it's not because I oh yeah, they're September 23rd. Clocked it. Okay. That's why she said
Oh,
that.
cusp. She's a
They
cusp.
are
They're both
they
cusps.
they are a September Libra, which is a completely different thing.
Cusps.
Um So then they get there, and Rob is so ridiculous. Like, Rob is like, "What did you put on your rock, Sophie?" And Sophie's like, "Compassion." And he's like, "I find it so funny that you put compassion when you've lied to me for the last 20 years." And I said, "Do you not know what the word compassion means? Did she put honesty? She didn't put honesty. She put compassion, which has nothing to do with the fact that she didn't tell you that she had sex with Colin when she was 14 years old." Which is also like, you were having sex at 14? Girl,
Sad. Yeah. Well,
I didn't even
some
know
people
what
just start
penis was
young.
at 14.
I
And
certainly knew, honey, but I couldn't get near one. I didn't know, and I wish I could, it just was so naive, so sweaty, so oily face, so many like random curly eyebrow hairs coming out of everywhere, So it wasn't
I don't,
anyway.
every time you talk about yourself in those, I'm like, I don't believe it at all. What do you mean you had oily? Where were you? Where on your face? You had pimples?
I don't
Yeah,
like
no,
skin
you
was
haven't.
whatever.
I've never known you to have pimples. Well, I mean, you have them like
Oh,
once in a while, but you were like, you had pimples? Oh.
in London, I had the worst skin of my life as an adult. I can't look back at our pictures in London, even though, anyway, I was in good shape. But my face, anyway, God bless. Then I went on spiral lockdown, changed my life. So, okay. Where are we? So yeah, they're in this
Okay.
thing. The Libra, yeah, compassion, and then so they get really upset over this. And by the way, the sad thing is, to me, I'm like, why are you mad that someone had sex when they were 14? Like, I wish you would have compassion for her. Like, she's right. Like, your first thought should be like, oh shit, you were really sexualized at a young age. Was that because your mom really put you in some precarious emotional situations from being abandoned because of her rampant drug use, and so you felt the need to like over sexualize to feel connection at a young age with someone else? I'm so sorry, boo. But no,
Yeah.
that's not what he's saying.
You lied to my face. You brought that man in my face when you had sex with him. When she was like a baby. So like what are you talking about? He's so fucking weird. And then like we have Gino and Jasmine, like someone put access, and I think it's just like Jasmine is feeling like she does not have her own life. Like she is just like stuck in whatever world Gino has
Oh,
created
no,
for her.
Natalie and Josh. Natalie puts access.
Oh, okay, great. Well, anyways, I was right what I said about Gino and Jasmine. But yeah, then we cut to we don't cut to. There is this crazy ass scene where Josh is in his bathrobe and she's laying on the bed, titties propped up, Natalie, at the edge. And she's just like, I want family. And he's like, slow down. Yet they've been on and off for 3 years. And then she's like, yeah, my boyfriend doesn't let me see his home. And I'm like, that's not your boyfriend, babes. It's not your boyfriend.
No, he, A, it's because he's dating other women. B, because he's dating like his ex-wife, or C, because there's so many reasons. C, because you're crazy and you live in California and he just wants to he's a narcissist and he wants to keep things compartmentalized. Or D, he's wants to maintain a certain air of success that maybe his home would defy.
You know what? I'm gonna give Josh a benefit of the doubt because he does pay for a lot of her stuff. Like he helps her with groceries.
He says he does.
And she doesn't refute it.
But okay, what does he pay for? I want to know.
I feel like
groceries?
Momo, her and Momo.
Their groceries?
Or if she needs extra whatever, like maybe help on the rent. Josh.
I just think of this way. He probably has to see her like once every 3 months. And yes, maybe he sends her $200 on Cash App every now. But it's like, again, an Eastern European woman, I think then they expect, and it's part of their love language, or however you want to say it, gifts. That's just a thing.
The way you said gifts was a cliffhanger. Like gifts. Love, but you're like gifts, Okay.
I really think it's like there are, okay, listen, there are women that are just like, oh, if you date me, then you pay for me. Like, and if you say yes, if I say yes to you and you get the opportunity to date me, then you have to take care of me. And then you should have the pleasure to do so. It should make you feel like you're a man, like you got all your ducks in a row. Like you're only a man if you can take care of your assets. And if you want a woman like me, like if I'm their chosen one, then you should be willing to pay for it. That is a mindset, right?
Right, it is. But I feel like it's weird when women put that mindset on men who are not also in that mindset. Like if you want that, then you have to make sure that you get with that. And like that is maybe Natalie's 2 ex-husbands, 3 if you're talking about Mike. Like I just feel like, that is a mindset and it's fine for them, but I don't think I would ever come across that woman. Like it's not in my purview. And so it just feels weird when women get with men who don't have that same understanding and then are mad like that the man isn't providing that. It's just weird to me. So it's like I know Mike didn't give her everything that she wanted. And I feel like maybe her first husbands did. Like they seem like, based on the wedding and like pictures and stuff like that maybe she was living a different type of lifestyle. But it's just like, yeah, find that man, go to galas, find that CEO, find that whatever. And it's also like, I also think it's a little, I also think there's another layer to that, which there's the expectation that if you're dating me, we are going to get married within a year and a half. Like there's got to be some kind of expectation of marriage fairly soon at the end of that, because how long is a man supposed to take who isn't a CEO, who isn't, an executive, who isn't this whatever, these men who have all this disposable income, discretionary income to where they can just pay for everything for this person that they're dating, which is lovely. But it's like Britney from what's that thing? Britney and Leo. You know what I mean? Like Leo is a man who can do that. He doesn't want to, right? He's already said that. He'll pay for trips, he'll pay for certain things, but he's not going to pay for everything. But like, you have to find a man who can support you with that. Don't go after a man who can't. So that's what's weird about it for me. Okay, so James, like, he is so intense. That therapist is so like the way he latches on to Rob and Sophie, like he is saving them from themselves, and he just like follows Sophie because Sophie runs off because she, fight or flight, she flights. And he's like, she just refuses to hear my complaint, and and how much she's held against me when she's been lying to me the whole time. And I'm like, you actually did the things. You were actually like text messaging people in the relationship with her. She had sex with her friend, 17 years, not 17, how old, I don't know, 8 years ago. And you're talking about it as though it's the same. He really is quite interesting for not wanting to like take responsibility for what he's done. He's trying to like throw off the responsibility by wrangling her in. And I'm like, it's just like crazy that he doesn't understand what the word compassion is, and crazy that he's trying to like compare apples to oranges with his situation versus hers. Now, this is also very funny. So Jasmine and Gino get paired up with Natalie and Josh. And Josh is looking at the map because they have to like walk around this like trail or whatever. And Josh is like, oh, it's like 1.4. And Gino's like, miles? And I was like, mile? First of all, there's no there's no to that. Two, it's very indicative of like, like I used to walk in the summer. Chris walks. Like, we are people who like 1.4 miles is maybe 30 minutes. Now they are kind of in like treacherous terrain, so maybe they do have to go up, but 1.4 miles is legitimately nothing. So the fact that he's like miles, as though like it's as though they said like, I don't know, like I mean
7.
Yeah, because my miles I walk 5 miles, 6 miles. It's an hour and a half. I mean, it's relatively easy. So I'm like, it's like, the way he said miles was so hilarious. And then lovely Julia's like, where are the camels? It's cute.
Thank God. This is a motley crew, but I'm enjoying it. And definitely I like the cast of this so much more than season 1's cast. Remember season 1's cast with Angela and Ed? Yeah, it was the best one was Asuelu. If it wasn't for Asuelu and Kalani, then I wouldn't have loved anything, because I didn't like Ed, and I definitely didn't like Angela. I mean, at least with Kalani and Asuelu, we found out that, she had cheated, and that he, didn't ever eat her out, and she had never come, and he doesn't care, and all that, it was a whole different. Last Resort is where they really strip off the masks. I mean, Ari and Vinny are a whole different thing. Let's get to them. So basically, Jasmine and Natalie go off to pee. This is like the second, Matt Sharp production in 1 week where women are just peeing in nature. God bless. But okay, Ari is mad because at one point Ari and Benny are paired with Stacy and Florian. And Florian has been very cold the whole time. And Stacy's like, love me, in a very Darcy way. And so he picks her up, and they're like, he's like carrying her on his back, piggyback style, on this like voyage. And Ari sees that, and she's like, Benny, yeah, I do that to me. Like, do that to me. Come on, pick me up, put me on their back, and he's like, I don't want to. He doesn't even want to he doesn't want to touch her. He doesn't want to hug her. He definitely does not want to put her on his back. He's like, I'm hot, I'm tired. Now, this made me LOL again for another conversation. Juan and I have already said on this podcast how we cannot imagine a world where men would pick us up, and men picking us up is weird to us, or whatever. Like, it'd be great if that could happen, but it's just like, like not in our wheelhouse. So only to that to say, I don't want to speak for you, but I can only think that there'll never be a time in which I demand a man to pick me up and carry me somewhere. And I'm like, do it. Why don't you? And he's like, I don't want to. And I'm like I wouldn't even demand it in the first place, much less ask over and over again when someone said no over and over again. I couldn't believe it when she did it. I mean, I know it's her husband. I know that he's very, very physically strong. And I know that she's small, and she kept saying, he's whatever. But at the same time, if it's not that, she definitely cannot read for some reason. This man does not like her.
The only thing I can think of is that she
cannot accept it.
Yeah, she can't accept it. The only thing I can think that would make this make sense is if like during some of their times prior to their happier times, he would just carry her and pick her up and throw her on his back or on his shoulders, or maybe during sex they would get into some acrobatics where he was like flipping her and doing whatever. So she's like, I know you can, and you have done this to me before, so like, why, this is what I'm trying to get you to get back to or whatever. That's the only way I could think that would like make any sense. But yeah, so she ends up crying, and like Stacey's like, damn, I guess I shouldn't have jumped on Florian's back, but we were just playing around. And she's like, no, it's just lying and the cheating. But then we have a scene where Florian and Stacey are off on their own, and they are talking, and Stacey crocodile fake cries and like gets hardcore with it to like make this face. She's like, oh, and there's no tears at all. And Florian is like, babe, it's okay. And then finally he's like, what the hell is wrong with you? I laughed out loud because it's so hilarious. Look at this grown mother of two with her injected lips and her crazy face, leaning her head back, and she's like, let me release it. Let me release it. And he's like, what?
What did I do? Was
so
this teeth worth it?
Yeah, so over her shit. It's hilarious.
Who's over his shit more? Benny? I mean, I don't know. It's funny that they're paired together, you know?
Yeah. Benny is like, it's because of my son.
Can't stand her.
She wants everything by force. This is my freedom. I feel trapped, and I cannot pretend to like her. And I'm like,
she's blackmailing me.
Yeah. He is done. And so it's really sad to see that it's taken this turn, and I don't know why she just doesn't leave him. Like we missed whatever it is, because this Ari who's like trying to hold on, unless they just are like hard up for money and they truly are in the process of getting like a divorce and like, you know, like whatever. But like, she just needs to give him his shit and move on. Like at this point, if it's petty. He doesn't like you. He doesn't even want to hold your hand. He doesn't even want to put you on his back for a show. He's like, no, I can't pretend. Oof.
I bet you also he's dating someone, and so he doesn't want to like show affection, because then he would get back to his, like, you know, like if he's with someone else, it would see that like, I don't know. That's what I kind of like got with that too. But basically everyone had, you know, this whole dumb exercise is basically there's two rocks, right? They wrote their names, and they get to this place where they talk about what their big issue is, and they decide together whether they're going to like leave the rock there, or whether they're not, you know, or they don't get on the same page and they have to like bring the rock back. Okay. So that's what the dumb exercise
let
is.
It go or keep it.
Yeah. So, you know, Gino and Jasmine get into a big fight, and so they keep the rocks. You know, he thinks that she doesn't appreciate anything, because again, he feels like she should be on bended leg and knee, just like washing his feet with her hair, just being like, thank you so much for bringing me here, and I'll never have to, don't worry, I'll never bring my kids here, because that would make your life hard, and I never want to make your life hard. Which they never talk about their kids anymore, because she's like so out of this marriage, so she's like, I'm gonna get someone else to do it. But anyway, so they have to get through the last resort. So yeah,
Julia,
this exercise has all different things. Julia
wants to bring her parents to the US. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I don't need Brandon. Because Brandon's like, her parents hate each other and they're divorced. Like, why does she want to bring them to the US? And it's like, I'm like, I also wonder that too. Like, girl, just go home to see them. Why do you want to bring them to the US? But yeah, she wants to bring them. And so that's one of the things. And Josh says that I don't know, just like this is the whole like Josh is like, I don't want you to come to my house. Yeah. And then she wants to like investigate it, and see what everything is happening over
Josh
there.
thinks if I come to his house that I will investigate it. Josh thinks that I will go into the bathroom for 2 hours and go through all of his medications, all of his drawers. Josh thinks that if I go into his closet, I'll smell his jackets and see if there's female perfumes. And Josh is right, is literally what she said.
Jesus,
And you know what? I mean,
Jesus.
that is it.
Yeah,
That is it.
So anyways, like Benny says again in his confessionals that he cannot pretend. He can't do it, he won't do it. And then they were like, how
You can't
can
make him?
he can't, yeah. And then so she's like, how can I show you respect? And he's like, when you talk to me, make sure your voice is low. And this is like this weird thing.
Did you talk about their eye staring thing, which was so awkward? Like when they
Yeah,
had
that
to
he
stop and
couldn't
be
do.
like, yeah, like we're gonna stare at each other's eyes, and she was so happy to just be like, and he was just like, oh god,
Yeah.
is it over? It's over now. It's got to be over. And she's like, well, I would do it forever with you. And he's like, no, and she's like, oh, you can't even look at me. You can't even show me affection. I asked for affection. And he's like, what do you want? And then she's like, for you to show me affection. He's like, well, what does that look like? And then she just comes out and sits next to him. I mean, I could not ask for more from a man who's giving me what he's giving. I just couldn't. Even if I had a kid with him, even if he fucked me for like the last 20 years of my life, if this person is giving me what this person's giving me, I just would not have the wherewithal to keep going. I would just be like, well, we all see
you
with
hate me.
our
You hate
eyes
me.
what am I gonna? I mean, like this feels like a weird emotional rape or something. Not what I'm saying. I don't mean to use the word lightly. Maybe I'll cut it out. But it feels like where you're not picking up the social cues of what is consensual, of like a thing of what someone's into you about.
Yeah,
it's
uncomfortable. It's like she's trying to force something and he's clearly uncomfortable with it. And it's just so weird because I'm like, what happened? I mean, she's been frustrated with him before and it's been back and forth. And something about the way she's frustrated with him now has changed. And he can't even pretend anymore. And it's like, I never thought he was super into her in general. I always thought that he was into the novelty of her and like how being with her could help his career. But it really does feel like he finally got to the US, even though his first plan wasn't to get to the US, but the way they met was so indicative of like how much of a playboy he is. Like he literally hollered at her on the street with his broken ass English because he still doesn't speak it well. So and it's better, way better than it was before. He hollered at her on the street.
She says that she called out to him. She called out to him first. She said, hey, do I know you?
Or whatever. I'm sorry. Okay, yes. Oh. They hollered at each other on the street. Let me just say that. They hollered at each other on the street and then like started fucking.
Yes.
And in less than a year had a baby. So like it's weird that she's trying to hold on to something that started off in that manner.
I completely agree with you. So like that comes to shit, and Gino and Jasmine, again yell, and that goes to shit. But meanwhile, this all ends, and they're back in the car, and Stacy, having absolutely no clue, and having had a conversation with Ari about already flaunting her love in Ari's face, is like, wow, this was such a blessing, this exercise. Like, meanwhile, Ari's like, fuck you, Darcy, whatever your name is or whatever. Stacy does feel like Darcy sometimes. So then, like, Natalie also in this van goes after Sophie. So obviously, Natalie, we know what some of the backstory is, but basically Natalie is like, oh, Rob, I agree with you. You're the one that's putting in the effort. Sophie's not putting anything in, and Sophie's like, well, I am. I'm just doing it my own way, and you can see Josh rolling his eyes like, oh, fuck, this is going to fuck me up,
Yeah, because Josh has been in the DMs, but Sophie is playing it so fucking cool. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you got to do, girl. Like, there's no reason to interrupt this, at least not now. It's just the beginning. Wait until we get a little further on in the episode, in the season. And then you're going to be like, first of all, bitch, I'm sick of you talking shit. You've been talking shit this whole time when your man is in my DMs. So really just go over there and mind your own business. I loved it. So I love it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it because it just doesn't make any sense for Natalie to do this. It's like feels very like very Shekinah in her first season at the tell-all, and Natalie is just one of those women that cannot be trusted in my mind. She's not to be trusted. So
if I was Sophie, I'd be like, you know what, bitch? I'll tell you right now. Not only me, but the entire America knows that my husband doesn't have a bathroom. Why? Because we've all seen it. We've been inside his house.
But you gotta wait, Chris. Let me tell you, this is how you.
I know. This is my fantasy.
You gotta wait.
I know, but Sophie. I know. I wonder if Sophie just like to me, if it was Sophie, I would lay up at night thinking, what could I say back? You know?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. No, I would be like, oh, okay. Now this. Like, so now the first offense is this. The second time you do it to me, when I tell you off is going to be this. The third time you do it, I'm going to tell you off. It's like I give people 3 opportunities to show their ass. And then the third time, that's when I'm like, okay, you've been talking a lot of shit. And let me tell you, because people are like, how? What? No, the first time in the van, you said this to me. I didn't say nothing to you. The second time in the desert, you said this to me. I didn't say shit then. But then now you have the audacity to say this to me when your man has been in my DMs. He's fucking my friend. And I met him in Vegas. And then he told me that y'all weren't together. So the truth is that you should stop talking about my relationship and move on to yours. Do you have anything else to say to me? Because I feel like she does this shit to Jasmine. There's a preview where she does this shit to Jasmine.
Yeah, they're friends now.
Jasmine turns against her.
Yes,
and and then what she does is she goes into like the blue-eyed blonde hair situation, and she's like looking up at Jasmine.
I've been waiting to talk to you about it. I was gonna talk to the
making end, Jasmine the like villain, the like angry Latina, while she just looks demure and silent and whatever. And I'm like, that is how bitches get their face hit. Because I would hit her. You don't have energy now? Oh, pop.
I can't wait. Like, can I be honest? There's only a couple of things that can really tickle me in a certain way. And this upcoming preview of the Jasmine versus Natalie, I mean, give me that over any sort of Paul brother versus any sort of, boxing legend. I just, I mean, that's what I want. That's what I need. But basically, yeah. So just to get there, if we're going back, like that's going to be on the upcoming one. I can't wait to see it. So Gino and Jasmine fight again about him never wanting to have sex. And he's like, she's like, well, you never want to have sex. You're never in the mood. He's like, well, what should that tell you? And then in my mind, I'm like, that you have ED, even erectile dysfunction is what it would tell me. And she storms off. Okay. And this is a precarious situation where she's in a very interesting, very hot, like resort looking knitted number with titties on display, like nude looking number. And she calls someone and it's a voice we don't know. It ends up being Matt, her gym buddy, who was like, oh God, Jasmine, Gino is so dumb. He doesn't know that, a million men would bite at their knees to be able to bite at to be able to have a chance with you. She's like, oh no. He's like, but at the same time, no, I don't want to say, but at the same time, you should give this a chance. She's like, I don't know if I can, Matt. I don't know if there's a hope, and he's like, there's gotta be hope. But if there's not, good old,
Matthew
weightlifting Matt, spotting Matt whenever you need a good spot, it's me. You have to rub down Matt, where's the towel, Matt? It's always me, she loves the fact that she's first of all, we know a lot of things about Jasmine, that obviously she's never been really good at being a not hypocrite, because if God bless, if Gino did 1/12 billionth of what this is, which is obviously emotional cheating, there'd be like an explosion like Mount Vesuvius and like Pompeii, like whatever this, it would like someone would die, the whole town would die, like, frozen in time. So it's like, so like wild that we could just like, this is crazy that you're doing this. But at the same time, she's been checked out. She wants out. She's done. He's disgusting. She's set up the fact that he won't touch her, that he's not intimate with her. So she knows that she can just be like, well, if he's not, then someone else would, and this Matt definitely is an American sounding person.
Mm-hmm.
Matt's sure white sounding. I don't want to give him that. Matt's sure American.
So it just really interesting. Like it's funny. This is like so far so good. Then they oddly cut it off after breakfast the next day. It's like, why didn't they just cut it off after the desert scene? But then we have like this scene of like boys are sitting at one table. Stacy comes with her like cute little outfit. Stacy bought new outfit for this. Like she had on white shoes and she's like, when they went to the desert, she's like, my shoes. Oh, it's okay, I'll just buy a new pair. And I'm like, they were white. Like she never wore them shoes. And the amount of luggage that she had is hilarious. I want to see their room. We saw it, but I don't recall seeing it as terrible as Sophie and Rob. Like Sophie just is like filled with Fashion Nova fits, matching sets.
Yep. You're absolutely right. But like, yeah, I like her little brown workout set, I again love that brown hair, and her hair in the confessional looks great. I'm just like, I'm just so happy where this is the greatest Sophie ever. So we'll see what happens next week. But I mean, we're down for it. It's very dramatic. And again, like for me, already a better, more promising season than the first. And I am thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to see the visuals of what you're listening to, you can join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties. You get it live every first Monday of the month, plus other goodies. So if you're interested in that, please join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties. But if you can't do that, Chris will show you the free ways you can support us. Chris?
Oh, it's social media. Please slide into our DMs. You're Josh. We're Sophie. We're posting all of our sexy gym pics and we have the sort of tight legging pants with like a ass crack contour, and it lays in our ass crack so that our bubbly butts are like super accentuated by the seam. And then
wait, what are you talking about?
DMs. Like I'm talking about our social media.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
You are Josh and we're Sophie, and we post our sexy gym selfies with our sexy pants on and our like hot bubbly butts and our like contoured gym leggings, which I've already talked about. And you are going to go in and you're going to like them all. And if you want to follow us, you can at DocuSweeties on Instagram. Maw loves me so much. At DocuSweeties on TikTok, at DocuSweeties on X, at DocuSweeties on Facebook. The DocuSweeties podcast Facebook group is what it's called. And then also on YouTube. Please go subscribe, like, and do everything there. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.